over Buyejet, Moman, Asahoya, Itifo Bolton, Oya Pachkichu, Siji Tlakwages, Tolwa Algi, Inakaptida, Imahangatka, Bali, Hamgan, Pulapokaga, Kasia Tiga, Inakaptidados, Sam Alexander, Jahajivkados, Imobanayat, Omaes, Azius Keith, Kabal and Othidos, Okwegidan, Aleji Jagis. Good morning. We welcome our guests to the Mound Building and those watching on the tribal website. This is the 17th session of the Muskogee National Council. I'm Sam Alexander, the speaker. It's 10 o'clock and I call this meeting to order. Omayeda, Ajagin, Omulgat, Sabakalachkin, Itganaga, George Harjochi, Yahekit, Mikasopkin, Hayatlees. As is our custom, please stand as Reverend George Harjochi leads a Creek song and offers a word of prayer.
Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Father, we thank you, Lord, for a good night rest. Thank you, Lord, for a new day, a day that we've never seen. A day, Lord, full of challenges. Father, we pray now, Lord, that we will make the most of this day. Lord, we know we can do that with your help. Lord, we come together here this morning to ask you, Lord, to be with the Creek Nation Council. Lord, as they endeavor to be good stewards over the things that you have put in their charge. Pray, Lord, for the principal chief, the vice chief, and all the leaders here this morning. Pray, Lord, that you put them in one mind, one accord. Lord, that your will for the Creek Nation will be done this morning. Ask you now, Lord, to forgive us of our sins, shortcomings, and failures. I ask this and all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Itkinaga George Harjochi, Mado Chikajis. Reverend George Harjochi, we thank you. At this time, I would like to ask the second speaker, Robert Huff, to conduct a roll call.
Speaker Sam Alexander.
Present.
Representative Shirley Nade. Representative Dodie Barnett.
Present.
Representative Pete Beaver.
Present.
Representative Frank Coachman. Representative Johnny Green.
Present.
Representative David Hill.
Here.
Representative Keeper Johnson. Keeper Johnson. Representative Adam Jones. Representative Eddie LaGrone. Representative Kara Medina. Representative David Nichols. Representative Darrell Proctor.
Here.
Representative Mark Randolph.
Present.
Representative Pearl Thomas.
Present.
Representative Lena Wind.
Here.
Representative Thomas Yahola. Representative Huftis here. Mr. Speaker, we have 17 present and 1 absent.
17 present and 1 absent constitutes a quorum. Prior to the approval of the minutes, Principal Chief Tiger had a brief comment to make.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, members of the National Council, members of this great Muskogee Creek Nation. I'm honored and humbled to stand before you this morning just prior to this monthly meeting of the National Council with a proclamation that I would like to share with you, if I may. Mr. Speaker, proclamation. Whereas the need for a highly literate citizenry increases the Muskogee Creek Nation as the Muskogee Creek Nation moves toward an increasingly technological future. And whereas a standard level of proficiency is required for success in today's labor market, and whereas literacy skills are strengthened through the support of the Muskogee Creek Nation's cultural and language preservation initiatives focus on raising the rate of literacy in our nation, and whereas the Muskogee Creek Nation works within the community to raise awareness of the importance of literacy, and whereas this month we dedicate ourselves to building stronger literacy awareness to all Muskogee Creek citizens understand its importance. Be it resolved that I, George Tiger, Principal Chief of this great Muskogee Creek Nation, hereby proclaim the month of December 2013 as National Muskogee Creek Nation Literacy Month for the Muskogee Creek Nation. I urge every Muskogee citizen to learn more about the economic and society importance of literacy, encourage children to read, engage others in the cause to promote and education citizenry, ensuring we have a vital nation of literate citizens free to pursue happiness and success. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hand and seal on this 23rd day of November 2013, George Tiger, Principal Chief, proclaiming the month of December as National Muskogee Creek Nation Literacy Month. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Giles, did you have something you want to add?
Madam Speaker, for indulging me to make this quick announcement, I just wanted to remind everybody about the revival of the Council House activities. We were having a art and food market today inside the Council House from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Following the art market at 6:30, we are lighting up the square with the council house. So this is a Christmas light kind of ceremony. It's music going to a light show, so it's more than just putting on lights. So it's something that we're very proud of to bring down to the council house. Following that, we are having a Muskogee-style Creek fiddle dance inside there, and feel free to come down. That will be a catered event. We'll be serving some traditional foods and really just having a good time and learning about a somewhat forgotten pastime. I've had some critics saying that this never happened and I'm making this up. Well, I have some elders that were really indulging me and giving me some good oral history about this pastime here. So again, just a quick announcement, and Mado again, speaker, for making this announcement. Mado.
We have the approval of minutes for the emergency session, October 15th, 2013, the planning session, October 22nd, 2013, quarterly session, October 26th, 2013, and the emergency session, October 29th, 2013. Chair to entertain a motion for action on these minutes.
Motion to adopt.
Representative LeGrone motions, Representative Huff seconds. Any discussion? That be for all four sets, sir? Mr. LeGrone? That be for all four sets?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call vote on approval of the minutes.
Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols, Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Yahola, Shirley Nade, Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones. Speaker, I have 16 in favor, none against.
16 yes votes and 0 no votes. The minutes stand as approved. Down in the order of business, Tribal Resolution 13165, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a memorandum of agreement between the Muskogee Creek Nation and the city of Eufaula. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Proctor motions. Representative Frank Coachman seconds. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Yahola, Shirley Nade, Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones, Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols. Speaker, I have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the tribal resolution is adopted by the National Council. Tribal Resolution 13165, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a memorandum of agreement between the nation and IHS for the employment of Joseph Landers as commissioned personnel for the Okemah Clinic. What's the pleasure of the National Council? Representative Wynn motions, Representative Coachman seconds. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Yahola, Shirley Nade, Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols, Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas.
Yes.
Speaker, I have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the tribal resolution is adopted by the National Council. Is Mr. Landers present? Would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Tribal Resolution 13167, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief execute a payment in lieu of tax agreement between the Muskogee Creek Nation on behalf of the Department of Housing and the Creek County Board of County Commissioners. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion to pass.
Representative Barnett motions. Representative Mark Randolph seconds. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols, Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Earl Thomas.
Yes.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yohola.
Yes.
Shirley Nate. Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
16 yes votes, 0 no votes, tribal resolution is adopted. Tribal Resolution 13168, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a state of Oklahoma Department of Transportation driveway agreement for the construction of a driveway at the new Coweta Food Distribution Building. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to pass.
Representative Randolph motions, Representative Medina seconds. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Earl Thomas.
Yes.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yohola.
Yes.
Shirley Nate.
Yes.
Duddy Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Frank Coachman.
Yes.
Johnny Green.
Yes.
David Hill.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Adam Jones. Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Kara Medina.
Yes.
David Nichols. Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the tribal resolution is adopted. Tribal Resolution 13169, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a standard form of agreement between the owner and design builder for construction of a new tribal transit building. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Grone motions, Representative Hill seconds. Discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Kara Medina.
Yes.
David Nichols. Darrell Proctor. Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Earl Thomas.
Yes.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yohola.
Yes.
Shirley Nade. Duddy Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Frank Coachman.
Yes.
Johnny Green.
Yes.
David Hill.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
16 yes votes and 0 no votes. The tribal resolution is adopted. Tribal Resolution 13170, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief execute agreements between the nation's Department of Health and the Oklahoma State University College of Osteopathic Medicine. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Medina motions. Representative Mark Randolph seconds. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Kara Medina.
Yes.
David Nichols. Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Earl Thomas.
Yes.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yohola.
Yes.
Shirley Nade. Duddy Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Frank Coachman.
Yes.
Johnny Green.
Yes.
David Hill.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
16 yes votes and 0 no votes. The tribal resolution is adopted. Tribal Resolution 13171, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the Department of Community and Human Services to apply for a federal grant to fund the nation's elderly nutrition program. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Medina motions.
A second.
Representative Johnny Green seconds. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Kara Medina.
Yes.
David Nichols. Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Earl Thomas.
Yes.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yohola.
Yes.
Shirley Nade.
Yes.
Duddy Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Frank Coachman.
Yes.
Johnny Green.
Yes.
David Hill.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Adam Jones. Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the tribal resolution is adopted. Tribal Resolution 13172, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute an agreement on behalf of the nation with Wells Fargo Advisors for the purpose of opening an advisory program account with the nation's operations funds. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion to pass.
Representative Barnett motions. Representative Adam Jones seconds. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Duddy Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
No.
Frank Coachman. Johnny Green.
No.
David Hill.
No.
Robert Huff.
No.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone.
No.
Kara Medina.
Yes.
David Nichols.
No.
Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Earl Thomas.
No.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yohola.
No.
Shirley Nade. Speaker, you have 7 in favor, 9 against.
7 yes votes and 9 no votes, the tribal resolution fails. Tribal Resolution 13173, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute an agreement on behalf of the nation with Wells Fargo Advisors for the purpose of opening an advisory program account for deposit of the nation's NAHASDA funds. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion to pass.
Representative Barnett motions. Representative Medina seconds. Is there a discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Jody Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
No.
Frank Coachman. Johnny Green.
No.
David Hill.
No.
Robert Huff.
No.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone.
No.
Kara Medina.
Yes.
David Nichols.
No.
Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Pearl Thomas.
No.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yahola.
No.
Shirley Nade. Speaker, you have 7 in favor, 9 against.
7 yes votes and 9 no votes. The tribal resolution fails. Tribal Resolution 13174, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a utility easement for the city of Okemah, Oklahoma, to cross tribal land for the purpose of constructing, using, and maintaining a sewer line. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Eddie LeGrone motions. Representative Pete Beaver seconds. Is there a discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Kara Medina.
Yes.
David Nichols.
Yes.
Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Pearl Thomas.
Yes.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yahola.
Yes.
Shirley Nade. Jody Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Frank Coachman. Johnny Green.
Yes.
David Hill.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Adam Jones. Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the tribal resolution is adopted. Tribal Resolution 13175, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute an asset purchase agreement for the purchase of real property and office buildings located in Okemah, Oklahoma. Okmulgee, Oklahoma. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Johnny Green motions. Representative Pete Beaver seconds. Is there a discussion? Roll call vote.
Johnny Green.
Yes.
David Hill.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Kara Medina.
No.
David Nichols.
Yes.
Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Pearl Thomas.
Yes.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yahola.
Yes.
Shirley Nade. Jody Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Frank Coachman.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 15 in favor, 1 against.
With 15 yes votes and 1 no vote, the tribal resolution is adopted. Tribal Resolution 13176, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to enter into an amendment to the nation's credit facility with Key Bank National Association and BOKF NA doing business as the Bank of Oklahoma that will increase revolving fund availability thereunder from $13 million to $63 million. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Robert Huff motions. Representative David Hill seconds. Is there a discussion? Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, what this bill is going to do is basically we had a loan that with the River Spirit Casino, and it was done in January. And on that loan, we had a $13 million revolving loan to help project for the River Spirit Phase 2 project right now. And so now we're getting further into the project at this point in time, so we need additional $50 million to continue to start the project. And once we get the guaranteed maximum price project, then we'll get this $50 million loan will move into that, roll into that loan also. So it's just basically covering a bridge loan at this point in time from where we are now to get started on the River Casino project.
Thank you. Any other comment or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Adam Jones. Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Kara Medina.
Yes.
David Nichols.
Yes.
Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Pearl Thomas.
Yes.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yahola.
Yes.
Shirley Nade. Jody Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the tribal resolution is adopted. NCA 13260, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a special appropriation to Glenpool Creek Indian Community, the fiscal year 2014 operating budget. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Medina motions, Representative Huff seconds. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Kara Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Gerald Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade,
Yes.
Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman, Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones, Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the NCA is adopted.
I want to make a motion for the next item to be NCA 13-287. Address it now. The next item on the agenda.
Is there a second to that motion? Representative Ade seconds the motion. All those in favor of moving NCA 13287 to be the next item on the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Okay, NCA 13287, a law of Muskogee Creek Nation. Okay, there it is, I'm sorry. NCA 13287, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a donation to Medicine Rock, Inc. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Yahola motions. Representative Shirley Nade seconds. Prior to the vote or discussion, I'd remind you this can require a two-thirds vote. Is there any discussion? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just have a brief question. We sponsored this organization last year as well, and I may be mistaken, but I recall the feeling being like a one-time sponsorship or some kind of seed money or something. I mean, is this something that we're going to be doing every year?
The Scoutmaster is here. She can answer that for you. At the microphone.
Medicine Rock is a nonprofit organization that sponsors 3 other programs. The Muskogee Creek Aristogati Troop 435 Boy Scouts just started last year. So we have no church or other organization to help fund us. The only thing we have, and we don't have grants coming into Medicine Rock. The money that you donate to the Troop 435 goes directly to the Boy Scout Fund, and it doesn't go into the general fund, so it only is spent on the boys, and they're all Muskogee Creek. Your question was, will we need this every year? I don't anticipate that we'll need it every year, but we just got started last year, and then now we're just getting our, we had 3 fundraisers this year, but it only yielded $435. That's not enough for the boys to go to Boy Scout camp. Or to do field trips. Boy Scout camp is $150 per person. The scouts that we get come from families that have limited income. Many are raised by grandparents or single parents or aunts and uncles. So we were coming in again this year to see if we can fulfill some of the commitments that we wanted to the boys for this year. Is there any further question?
What other grants or funding sources do you have lined up in order to solicitate more funding for your program?
I don't know of any grants right now for the Boy Scouts. We went in for a scholarship this year for the forestry camp, so we got 4 boys into forestry camp, but it still cost us $75 per person. So we got $100 per boy, but then we still had to pay the $75 per child. And what happened is we started with 8 Boy Scouts this year, and it's doubled. We now have 16. And next year we're going to go up to 21. So we're increasing at a far further rate than we thought. And each boy costs about $1,000 to support with their camping equipment, their backpacks, and their sleeping bags, and then their camping expenses. Did you bring the slide presentation?
No.
Maybe? Okay. I had done a slide presentation where I showed all the pictures of what the boys are active in, and they're exposed to this year we exposed them to a lot of things that they normally wouldn't have the opportunity to be exposed to. You know, nuclear science, a lot of nature studies, mammal study, insect study, environmental science. These are job opportunities, forestry camp, which again expose them to job opportunities for the future. So we're asking for an opportunity to allow these other boys that are coming on board this year to have the same opportunities the boys had this past year.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Hout.
Do you know if any of the Creek boys have applied for the $500 extracurricular activity money?
For the what?
The extracurricular activity that the tribe allows. They have a program that students can come in and apply for a $500 scholarship for extracurricular activity. Have they done that? Do you know?
Didn't know about that, and I would encourage my
Dr.
boys
Johnson,
to
would you
do
mind?
that.
Dr. Johnson here is in charge of that. You can, the
Okay.
guy sit down. Dr. Johnson, would you hold your hand up? You may get with him over here, get with him,
Okay.
because that would help the boys along the way. And that
That
would
would be
qualify
great.
for it, I believe, so.
Mado.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to add too that what is unique about this Boy Scout organization, I think within the board and the leaders, there's about 3 or 4 speakers of the language, and the troop gets a good lesson in the cultural and their tradition, and that's unique because I don't think any other scouts anywhere else have that. And also the scoutmaster and her husband, they have a ranch, and they let the scouts utilize that for their camping and their whatever activities that they have. Madu.
Any other discussion? Have a roll call vote, please.
Thomas Yahola.
Yes.
Shirley Nade. Dodie Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Frank Coachman.
Yes.
Johnny Green.
Yes.
David Hill.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Kara Medina.
Yes.
David Nichols.
Yes.
Gerald Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Pearl Thomas.
Yes.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13265, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a special appropriation to a Muskogee Creek citizen. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Wynn motions. Representative Shirley Nade seconds. Any discussion? Remind the National Council this is also going to require 2/3 vote. Have a roll call vote, please.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Thomas Yahola.
Yes.
Shirley Nade. Dodie Barnett.
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Frank Coachman.
Yes.
Johnny Green.
Same.
David Hill.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Kara Medina.
Yes.
David Nichols.
Yes.
Gerald Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Pearl Thomas.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 15 in favor, none against, and 1 abstain.
With 15 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 1 abstention, the NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13269, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a donation to New Hope, Oklahoma. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion to pass.
Representative Barnett motions. Representative Robert Huff seconds. Any discussion? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Just very briefly, New Hope is an organization that bridges the gap for children who have incarcerated parents. They work with them after school, tutoring, make sure their grades are kept up. If they need to go to court, they go to court. They work with the families, and even when those parents come home, then they are still there as a support system for the families, and they have a waiting list of about 31 children on waiting on services from them that they can't service until they get transportation for them. So any support would be appreciated.
Thank you. Any other discussion or comment? Roll call vote. It's going to take a 2/3 vote.
Jody Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman. Johnny Green.
No.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones. Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Kara Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade. Speaker, you have 15 in favor, 1 against.
With 15 yes votes and 1 no vote, the NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13277, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a special appropriation to First Indian Baptist Church of Shawnee, Oklahoma. What's the pleasure of the National Council? Representative Ade motion, Representative Yahola seconds. Any discussion? This will also require a 2/3 vote. Roll call, please. Roll call vote.
Shirley Nade, Jody Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman. Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones. Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Kara Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the NCA is adopted by the National Council. Yes. Are there any members of the First Indian Baptist Church of Shawnee present? Very good. Thank you very much for being here. NCA 13278, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a special appropriation to Muskogee Creek youth. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative David Nichols motions.
Second.
Representative Shirley Nate seconds. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
David Nichols,
I'd like to, we got another bill for the same. Not for the same amount for both. Now, one for 4,000, and this is. I think in order to be fair. Both students to go through. I'm just wondering if this is enough. Well, let me amend this to 2,000, what's the
700.
count for the, go,
27, 24, 43.
So you're going to make a motion to amend this to 274443. Is there a second to that motion? Representative Ade seconds the motion.
Wind
Is everybody clear? This is a motion to amend the amount. Have a roll call vote to amend the amount.
Frank Coachman.
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones. Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Kara Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Jody Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the amount has been amended.
2,700.
Back to the main motion. Is there any discussion on the main motion as amended? Roll call vote, please, on the main motion.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, NCA 13278 as amended is adopted.
Yes. Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
the young man's here for legislation that we just passed. He's in the audience. I'd like to recognize him. Yes.
Please stand and be recognized. Hello. Right, NCA 13279, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation appropriating funds to the Mound Oversight Committee for maintenance and upkeep of the mound building. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion do pass.
Representative Hill motions, Representative Beaver seconds. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones, Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13280, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a special appropriation to 10 Muskogee Creek ceremonial grounds to purchase tractors and related equipment. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Make a motion do pass with
Representative,
substitute. With the substitute.
we have a substitute in there. Everybody got that? Representative Hill motions, Representative LeGrone seconds. Any discussion? This is going to require a 2/3 vote. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
16 yes votes, 0 no votes. The NCA is adopted by the National Council.
I think you have several Mikos here tonight.
Representative Hill would like for the ceremonial ground Mikos to please stand and be recognized. I see Representative George Thompson in the back there, and there they are. Hello.
Not identified. We can do that real fast.
Thank you. Yes.
Funding source,
Pardon me?
funding source,
Correct. Interest on permanent fund. Right. NCA 13281, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a special appropriation to a Muskogee Creek College student. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Medina motions. Representative Pete Beaver seconds. Any discussion?
Speaker?
Yes.
In the explanation of the charges that the student has, I probably missed it, it might be just my oversight, but Creek Nation monies were paid and BIA monies were paid towards this bill already? I'm just asking.
I'm not sure about the BIA, but I know that they've been handled by the Creek Nation. She's very complimentary of the job Dr. Johnson's people did. One of the reasons that she's asking for the money, she had to get private housing for a student. It's in your legislation, the reason for that. And I think that's the main source of the increase.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Dodie Barnett,
No.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman. Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
No.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 2 against.
14 yes votes, 2 no votes. The NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13283, a law of Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a donation to the California Muskogee Creek Association. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion do pass.
Representative Hill motions. Representative David Nichols seconds. Is there a discussion? Roll call vote, please, on the NCA.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
16 yes votes and 0 no votes. The NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13284, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending NCA 12039, parentheses, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a supplemental appropriation to the Citizenship Board to purchase a database system. End of parentheses, as amended by NCA 12187. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Medina motions. Representative Johnny Green seconds. Discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman, Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone.
No.
Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 2 against.
With 14 yes votes and 2 no votes, the NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13286, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending NCA 13237, parentheses, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation approving the comprehensive annual budget for fiscal year 2014 and providing for appropriations. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion do pass.
Representative Hill motions.
Second.
Representative Pearl Thomas seconds. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
No.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Dodie Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 15 in favor, 1 against.
With 15 yes votes and 1 no vote, the NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13288, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a special appropriation to Muskogee Creek youth. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Yahola motions. Representative Shirley Nade seconds. Is there discussion? Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, this requires a two-thirds vote, and so we need to add a section 6 for the waiver.
Okay.
I think the staff can do that.
Mr. Coachman.
Yes, I'd like to amend this, 1,720. Same as the other student.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Representative Coachman motioned. Representative Dodie Barnett seconded. It's a motion to amend the amount. Everybody get that? Yes.
Yes, I want to speak up for this applicant. I talked to Mrs. Panther prior to this bill. We had a discussion, and I told her that we require some portion, from the family. And she mentioned that she was a single family mother, and her husband just recently, passed, and she didn't feel like she could, didn't have any help with fundraisers or anything of that sort. But I did explain to her that we would require a waiver, be up to the National Council. And I know we have different circumstances and different families. And so that's the reason that we're asking, for this particular amount.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, this is a roll call vote on the motion to amend the amount.
Yes, to have a waiver.
It's a motion to amend. Go ahead and take a roll call.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Could you explain that again?
Did they change the motion, or he changed the amount? This is a motion to amend the amount.
Back to the 2,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones, Eddie LeGrone,
No.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
No.
Darrell Proctor,
No.
Mark Randolph,
No.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Yahola,
No.
Shirley Nade, Jody Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 10 in favor, 6 against.
10 yes votes and 6 no votes. The amount is amended. Back to the main motion. Is there any discussion on the main motion as amended? Yes, sir.
Just add section 6 for the waiver.
Motion.
Oh, excuse me, that's not called for now. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. So roll call vote on the main motion as amended.
Thomas Yahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Jody Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the NCA is adopted. NCA 13289, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation reaffirming support for the protection of the Muskogee sacred site of Hickory Ground near Wetumpka, Alabama, and authorizing a special appropriation for the cost of necessary measures related thereto. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Rep- Representative Eddie LeGrone motions, Representative Dodie Barnett seconds. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Yahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Jody Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
With 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13290, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation appropriating funds for the purpose of providing education for 10 Muskogee Creek students per calendar year in the natural gas compression program at OSU Okmulgee. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Medina motions. Representative Adam Jones seconds. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Pearl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Yahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Jody Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
16 yes votes and 0 no votes. The NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13291, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation creating a new MCNCA Title 18, Section 2-404, entitled Doctorate Degree Program to assist Muskogee Creek citizens pursuing doctoral degrees under the existing postgraduate program. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Johnny Green motions, Representative Pete Beaver seconds. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Johnny Green? Yes. David Hill?
Yes.
Robert Huff?
Yes.
Adam Jones?
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone?
Yes.
Karen Medina?
Yes.
David Nichols?
Yes.
Darrell Proctor?
Yes.
Mark Randolph?
Yes.
Earl Thomas?
Yes.
Lena Wynn?
Yes.
Thomas Yahola?
Yes.
Shirley Nade? Jody Barnett?
Yes.
Pete Beaver?
Yes.
Frank Coachman?
Yes.
Speaker, you have 16 in favor, none against.
16 yes votes and 0 no votes. The NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13292, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation appropriating funds to One Fire Holding Company. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt.
Representative Jones motions, Representative Yahola seconds. Is there discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to give Gary Warnock, CEO of the One Fire Holding Company, time to speak and explain some of this for us.
Okay. Very good.
Morning, members of the National Council. Before I start, I'd like to recognize Bill Settle, one of our board members from One Fire Holding Company, real quick before I get started.
Mr. Speaker, members of the council, it's a pleasure for me to be here this morning. I am the Secretary Treasurer for One Fire Holding Company, the company that you created, and I'm looking forward to an exciting time when we're going to create a great deal of hopefully profit and jobs for the Muskogee Creek Nation. Also, I'm deeply honored to have been put in this position by Chief Tiger, and I thank him for that honor. My Vice President, Dee Young, your appointee to the One Fire Holding Company, called me early this morning. She said the roads were icy and bad where she is, and she could not make it to the meeting today, and asked me to apologize and express her regrets. I was not able to be at the planning session earlier, and due to the fact that my wife was in surgery and is now convalescing at home, so I agreed to be here this morning. I want to turn it over to my CEO, Mr. Gary Warnock, who will discuss the budget request. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. The legislation that we put forward is an investment over the next 3 years in diversifying and trying to create more jobs in more places. We've done a great job in gaming. We've done a good job in a lot of other areas. But what we're trying to achieve is what I call a dividend reinvestment program, where we're taking some of our dollars and creating many more areas of industry segments where we can take jobs in the rural community. Gaming does a good job, but it doesn't allow us sometimes to take jobs into rural communities. And what we've learned over the years in Indian country is that you really need to be investing in ways to create self-reliance at the individual level through job creation. And so what I did when the board engaged me is came in and looked at the legislation that you passed, looked at the operating agreement. I was very impressed with the legislation. And so I look at this request as the follow-through of what we've already done. We've taken that step, we've made that statement that we're going to do a couple of things here that we haven't done in the past. We're going to separate business from government, we're going to invest in our people, and we're going to create the next generation of Creek leaders. So that's what I'm here to do, implement the law that you passed and start working on creating those opportunities, because it takes a long time, it's not easy. Industrial type jobs are not done very easily, and they take a long time. So what we made sure we did, and we were very sensitive, and as the board and I talked about this budget request, we were sensitive to the fact that we did not want to touch the permanent funds. So that's why we worked out the funding solution to phase this in over a 3-year period of time. One Fire believes that if our charter is to establish economic self-reliance for the Creek Nation, we're going to prove it ourselves to you. And so the 3-year phase-in is our answer to that. So if we do a good job and we're good stewards of the investment, then I think that you'll be proud to keep investing. So if we provide the results, I think you'll be glad what you see.
Any questions?
I know it just seems like there's still some unanswered questions on pertaining to the business plan as well as the budget. I would like to make a motion to postpone January.
It's a motion by Mr. Hill and a second by Mr. Nichols to postpone until January. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is the motion, discussion on the motion to postpone. Would you speak to your microphone, please?
One good reason for postponing this is because these are the documents we received about a month ago, last week. And I had to ask my documents. And I'm sure everyone on the council hasn't reviewed these where they can make a good sound decision on this company. And I think Mr. Huff, he is a kind of a financial person. He hasn't really completed the review of these documents yet to make a good decision himself, I believe.
Correct.
Safe in saying that?
Yeah.
And also the investment that we're looking at, it's nearly a $22 million investment for the Creek Nation, and it's broken down into 3 installment plans, I guess around 7-something thousand over a period of years. And I don't think anybody sitting at this table, if it was you making this investment for your company, would you feel good about it today? Not knowing everything in the paperwork here, just being told what you heard, would you feel safe in making a $22 million investment of your money? I don't think you would. And this is something we're investing the tribal money, which belongs to all citizens of the nation. So we better make sure we're doing a good investment here for them. And that's what I feel about it. It needs to be tabled for more review. I'm not against this, but you don't make a hasty decision in 1 week, not being able to review all the documents, not being able to ask questions of attorneys and business people. So that's my reason for second the motion on the table. It takes time to absorb all this and feel good about what you're doing. Thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion to postpone? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think it would be ill-advised to postpone. The documents are lengthy, but that is our job to look through the documents and to make time to do that. And if there were questions, there was a committee meeting, Mr. Warnock has been readily available at any time to meet with anybody on this council. And so if due diligence has not been performed thus far, it really is no fault of One Fire, and we're missing out on opportunities and contracts and getting the structure started and starting the new session on the right foot. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any other discussion? Mr. Hill.
I did have several questions during our committee meeting as well as planning session, and really wasn't answered. I mean, what are we going to do? I know there's structure where there's construction, security, but, the jobs, they couldn't identify what we're actually going to do. I know a lot of council members, and I did ask if this was the original budget that was turned in, and I was told it was, but I don't think it was. I think it was a different one.
Okay. Mr. Huff?
Yeah. Also, I review part of the documents, not totally, and yes, Mr. Barnett, that is our job to do in times and times. But I think the question I had also too is that from the standpoint that we were looking at a $21 million request right now, and I know that over a 5-year period, and I'd asked Mr. Warnock what kind of monies we would generate. He said maybe $5 million. So we're looking at putting $21 million into something and generating $5 million. I'm for the structure it is, but I would like to have more time to. I have some further discussions on my mind that I would like to ask questions, and also the same point, the fact that $21 million here we're asking for, and now we don't have the funds. We had funds, but it'd take everything we had to provide for this project at this point in time. I think we do need a structure like One Fire, but there's also some questions about that also. So,
Chief Tiger?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to be very diplomatic in saying this. Whenever we postpone anything, we've lost out. Our history shows that when it comes to business, and it has tendencies to be stagnant because we can't make a decision. Now, I've told many of you around that table that if you have any questions, I'm open for any questions that you may have and you may answer. In addition to that, what we're trying to establish here is something that some other tribes have already established, and they're successful. Keeping government out of business. It's already shown historically that it's not a successful format. I know that it is a tough decision. I've shared that with you before. But also, we've missed out before on a possibility of making money by withdrawing or postponing. You know, these deadlines aren't deadlines of me or the holding company. It's deadlines of the monies that we want to seek to get. We've missed a couple of deadlines already in going after contracts. However, another deadline we're looking at is the ability to submit our applications to SBA for some things that we want to do. We have people in D.C. that's waiting on us to make a decision. Now, I know that you know, your concerns are at a point to where, yes, you know, maybe you haven't had a chance to read them. But the people that we put on the holding company and the people that we brought in, like Mr. Warnock, they have experience in this. You and I don't. They have a history with this. You and I don't. And as I've stated before you earlier, having sat where you sat, if it wasn't any good, you and I would not be having this discussion. If it's something that I didn't think that we should invest in, then I would not be in front of you today talking about this issue. It is very important. Now, some of you have ran on the premise that you're going to look at diversity and economic development. You have an opportunity today to do that. You know, I know that that's a pretty good sized piece of document, as Mr. Nichols says, but the holding company, One Fire, that's your representative. Those people are your representative. They've looked at it. They've shared with you. And if you have questions, Mr. Warnock has always been available. You know, if there's other issues, be upfront with us and just tell us. But we're talking about the opportunity to go after money, to be able to put people to work. Now, when we said we were going to have this casino, we promised all of our citizens we were going to put them to work. Our citizens are terminated every day up at the gaming casinos because of certain issues. We know that they're regulated by NIGC, and we have laws that we have to pass. But also, the fact remains is we have a law that says that we are to hire Creek people, Creek preference. This is the goal of what we want to do with this. And I think, as I've said before, I've talked to people in the last 2 weeks that knew about this particular legislation that is in front of you this morning, and they're looking at this as a thread of hope for the opportunity to at least think that they have a chance to get some kind of work in the future. And that's what we said we would do, is find jobs. All I'm asking is let's really consider this, and if we really are stewards of the people that we serve, and we said that we want to provide jobs for them, this is an opportunity. You know what? I don't know, maybe in the future we may bring another piece of legislation to you. And at that time, will we say that let's postpone this because it's too big of a document? What we're trying to do is take some of this burden off of you through a holding company that'll take the opportunity for them to look at all of the business ventures that's coming up in the future and come to you and say, this is something we need to do. They'll do all the work. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Jones would like to speak. I'll speak after Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the budget request was actually given out over 2 weeks ago. Like Chief had said, this is going to create many jobs and diversification. There's many business deals that come through the council all the time that doesn't need to come through the council. It needs to go through the holding company. That way the holding company actually is responsible. There's business decisions that people on the council here that we should due diligence I don't feel like is ever done like it should be. I would like to ask the three people that wants to postpone, have they actually reached out? I know Gary Warnock has actually tried to reach out and touch base and explain this to the ones that has the problems, and have they actually met with Gary Warnock to let this be explained? Because there's a lot of people out here, the majority of us have met with them and understand that and what we're trying to do. There's a lot of jobs that's going to be created. It's not all about SBA work. It's not all about 8A work. It's about different contracts, private contracts as well. You know, the things about it is there's so many jobs that's going to be created. The social service program will actually, you create jobs in social services, well, it will drop. So that's one of the things that we need to do. Diversification is huge. You know, all of our funds are in one basket, and it's in gaming, and we have to diversify. That's one of the things that we have to do. You know, the population of our people have grown so much that we have to create the other side to balance that out. We have to have an income other than gaming to provide for those programs. That's all I've got. I do support this wholly. I mean, if it was something bad there, I for sure would not bring it. I would not sponsor it, would not speak on behalf of it. I truly believe in this. And it's not about me. It's about our children. It's about our elders. It's about the whole nation. This is what we're trying to do. This is a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols.
I would like to ask our attorney, Patrick, could you speak on this for a minute? I'd like to ask you, have you reviewed the documents completely, and do you feel that we could make a good decision today based on this as a short-term notice, short notice? You feel good that we could make a good decision on this today?
Representative Nichols, I did have the opportunity to review the legislation and the attachments. Very lengthy, certainly. I would say that in my experience, the business plan that was provided wasn't necessarily specific on, like acquiring companies. I mean, basically, you're setting up 7 subsidiaries, and for a period of 3 years, you're going to give each subsidiary $1 million, because there's 7 subsidiaries. I don't think personally that the business plan was as complete as I've seen in the past in some respects. Whether or not you can make an informed decision on that, I think, is based upon your understanding that, some of these entities may be Section 8A certified. Apparently some won't. That part of it wasn't clear to me. And I guess as far as, that's my opinion on the documents. As far as the legislation goes, I just want to be clear that if this legislation is adopted today, under the plain language of it, you are appropriating $21 million for this year. It is not, I don't know if there's a plan to have a substitute to clarify the phase-in period for 3 years, but the way this reads today is that the 2014 budget will have a $21 million appropriation, or $21.9 million appropriation, just to be clear.
Bill, yes or no, do you feel that based on our decision today to approve, doing justice to the nation, or do you think there's more questions to be answered?
I personally would have, some questions if I were sitting in your position. I think that a lot of it goes to the structure. I mean, you've got a CEO on board. It's my understanding the CEO has been on board for maybe 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, or I'm sorry, how long is it? Yeah, since November 1st. So roughly 3 weeks. I mean, it's definitely in its infancy, and so I think if I were a council member, I would give it serious consideration to make sure that I was very sure before appropriating any money. So
that's why the postponement is being asked for, and that's our attorney that we rely on to give us.
He's our lawyer. He's not our business advisor.
Well, he gives us the knowledge that we need also. And I'm like Mr. Hill. I think there's well, first of all, you talk about meeting. I was made aware that there was 2 meetings in the principal chief's office that we were not invited to. For unknown reasons, we were not invited to. And them meetings should have been held in the open council. Everybody should have been there. I heard that there were 2 meetings, and there was only certain council people there. The other thing is, I'm like Mr. Hill. I don't believe that's the budget. I don't believe that's the original budget. I believe there was one before that, and it's been increased twice since the original budget was in place, and I believe that can be proven if needed. But that's all I have, and I would like to ask the council just to take a little more time to be sure, you know, we owe, and we all talk about economic development for our citizens, and we'll do that. But we all, also, we're here to protect the funds of the citizens also. And we've had projects in the past, and I'm not relating to this to them, but they've been failures. I'm not going to say this one will be, but it needs to be really, really something we can be comfortable with. Thank you.
Mr. Huff?
Yeah, one thing is that, you know, like I said, I'm not opposed to doing one fire, but I would like to postpone it also. But Mr. Warren, let me ask you a question. You know, the day you put a budget together with Willowhart Group for $21 million, and there's 7 different entities, you know, but at this point in time, there's no guaranteed contracts at this point. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so, you know, yes, I think we get things going and can create jobs, but, you know, there's no guarantee that the $21 million will produce jobs or revenues for the tribe because there's a lot of people bidding for the same contract. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So basically, we're, you know, yeah, we have to take risks a little bit to get something. And I understand that, but I think I would like to have a little more concrete information. Say, yeah, we have this contract that we're going to get, and so we're here, we're ready to go. We're going to employ 25, 30 people, you know, and then we're going to make this kind of revenue. But basically, you said that night we'd probably generate maybe $5 million for over the period of 5 years with the $21 million. Is that correct?
Well, if I may clarify a couple things about the budget specifically, as well as the comments that the attorney made.
My question was, you said you would make about $5 million over the next 5 years. Is that correct?
That was a conservative estimate.
That's all my question.
Right. Yes.
I'd like to make a quick comment. You know, I have seen a lot of business proposals come in front of us, you know, over the past few years. A lot of them want us to acquire, you know, a lot of debt in comparison to what we're going to get on our investment. And I believe this is one of the best proposals I've ever seen. And, you know, Mr. Warnock and Willowhart reached out to me, and I had a lengthy conversation which was able to answer all of the questions and make me feel very comfortable trusting this group of people to manage our finances in this regard, in this business proposal. And, you know, Mr. Nichols asked if we would be willing to, you know, put faith in it personally. And I can tell you, you know, if this was my money, this would be an investment that I would choose to put my money in, because that's how much I believe in it. And, you know, I believe, you know, like I've said, we have to spend money to make money, and we have to take calculated risks, and, you know, we have to take risks that are smart. But we have a very competent group of people, and I believe this is, you know, a really good way to be good stewards of what we've been blessed with so that we can provide a future for our citizens. Thank you.
One last question. If you look on page 309, if you do have yours, it just basically tells you instruction for completion of a 5-year pro forma financial statement. And that's actually, if you pull it up, that's what all these papers are, just basically financial statement. And I'm not disagreeing with this. I'm in favor for the one fire. Mr. Warnock, if we postpone it for just 2 months, that really hurts.
I think it would. I think we're already behind, sir. Yeah. And the reason why is because all of these types of companies compete on a government cycle. Okay, so all of our competitors hit the ground running October 1. Okay, so we're here at the end of November. Postponing it puts us that much farther behind.
Well, you know, we've been behind 20 years. So
right, so why keep it farther behind?
Yeah, well, I just don't want to rush into something. I want to make sure it's done right first.
Well, and I'd like to clarify that the issues with the backup and the budget and all the little numbers in there, this is a living, breathing thing. This is not just a business deal that we've brought to you to consider that's only going to go this way. Okay, this begins now. So what you have before you in that duly adopted business plan is we're implementing the law that you passed. And we're following the letter of the law that you passed. So it required for a duly adopted business plan and a budget. And so that's what we submitted with this legislation. So it's going to grow. All of those sections are going to be filled out with themes as we do our work, as the board approves policies and procedures, as we start to evaluate business deals. You might want to bring some of your business deals our way so that we can do that work in an objective and effective way so that we can take that off of you. Maybe not. I don't know. But all of the backup that Mr. Nichols showed and some of these questions are coming from all of these 300 and some pages, representative sampling for the operating subsidiaries. Our legislation and our budget request is for one fire holding company. It's not necessarily for all these operating subsidiaries. The board will decide how to allocate this capital on your behalf. You put this board in place with your legislation to be stewards of this money. So to view this as kind of a business deal, well, we're going to pay somebody money and hope we get that return, that's not what this is. This is follow-through from the legislation that this nation passed to make sure we fund this strategy going forward. And yes, you're right, we're 20 years behind, and we want to catch up as of yesterday. Some of my background, as many of you well know, I spent 10 years with the Cherokee Nation doing this very thing. And I can tell you, job creation is not easy. And so the sooner we get to this work, the better it's going to be for our people.
Last question. Would you say that there's contracts daily? There's contracts out there daily, correct?
There are contracts out there.
Even though we missed December, there's still contracts out there in January, February, March.
My experience has been if you don't already start having your discussions with contracting officers and potential clients starting in what we call the slow time, which is the holiday time where we're in right now, and if you don't already have your capabilities, you're going to be behind everybody else. And that's one of the unique things about starting up a holding company and new operating subsidiaries is that we actually have to develop these capabilities. We're going to have, the One Fire Board is going to be investing in the development of capabilities. Some of it will be done organically, some of it may have to be done through acquisition. And the whole idea is to ensure that we've got everything that we need to go actually compete in the marketplace for this work. And so we got a long way to go to even get there.
Yes.
And that's why we backed up the request. We understood that $21 million is a lot of money, but when you break that down in terms of the amount of subsidiary companies that we are trying to grow in parallel, which I think is the smartest way to do it, because you can leverage economies of scale, you can be consistent, you can save a lot of dollars if you will grow these companies simultaneously. And that's what this seeks to do. And that's why it takes, based on my experience, about 1 to 2 million over about 1 to 2 years per operating subsidiary. So while it gets to be a big number, when you start to consider that we're going to need to get at least 7 to 10 companies right out of the gate in these different industry segments, it's not that big a number then. And then, like I said before, we backed up the phase in so that we could make this politically palatable to not touch the permanent fund as well. So we tried to do what we could ever since the Business, Finance, and Justice Committee meeting to allay these concerns and bring solutions to you so that you could pass this at this meeting. Because if we postpone, we're sending that message to Indian country and to the rest of the world that may be considering doing business with us that we're really not sure about doing business. And I think that's unfortunate for our people because they're waiting too. I've been waiting over a decade. That's why I'm here.
Call for a question. Call for
Go ahead and let Lena speak. Sorry. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As everyone knows, I'm the newest person on the council. And we've seen a lot of deals. There were deals before I got here. And it's amazing to me how we don't think anything about giving other people money for a golf course, for a river walk, for bank shares. This is a chance to invest in ourselves and build something from the ground up and make it what we make it. Not somebody handing us off something they don't want anymore. This is an investment in our children and our grandchildren and the future of this nation, and I truly believe that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just have a question. I know that the motion was to postpone it for 2 months. Why 2 months?
Well, with a short month in December, our meetings are pushed up, and everybody's going to be on vacation holidays, so I didn't know if they give them ample time to get it corrected. or revised, I should say.
Certainly, I'm not for postponing it, but I do think that if we intend to do our due diligence, that we certainly would have time to address it within the 1 month. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Postpone, roll call vote.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
No.
Eddie LeGrone,
Yes.
Kara Medina,
No.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
No.
Mark Randolph,
No.
Earl Thomas,
No.
Lena Wynn,
No.
Thomas Shahola,
No.
Shirley Nade, Jody Barnett,
No.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman,
Yes.
Johnny Green.
No.
Speaker, you have 6 in favor, 10 against.
Back to the main motion, NCA.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask Gary Warnock a question, please. Gary, do you think that we need to, actually, we need to amend this amount to 7.3, and then that way it's not a 21 million total?
That's correct. I would recommend an amendment on the floor.
All right.
To
Mr.
adjust the
Speaker, I'd
amount.
like to amend that amount to $7.3 million on the amount appropriated.
Second.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to ask the sponsor, do you think that we need to add a provision in there to add it to the cab for the next 2 fiscal years?
Yes.
Okay.
Add it to the cab for the next 2 years as well. Not to the cab, but actually,
Yeah,
it's
not to the
actually-
cab.
It's not to the cab.
It's
It will
just an
be
allocation of
allocation.
future profits.
Thank you. Would like to make it where it's 7.3 for the next 3 years, this year, and the following 2 years, and it's allocation of profits for the permanent fund. Allocation of profits from gaming for the permanent fund. That's correct. Well, it's no permanent fund. I'm sorry, I apologize.
The permanent fund would not be involved. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. One second, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask Mr. Pratt to come up to the podium, please.
Mr. Speaker, National Council, in order to ensure that the funds are committed for this particular project, I don't think that you want to eliminate the $21.9 million from the legislation. I think you want to go ahead and appropriate it, but I think you need to include language to make the funds available in the amount of $7,331,267 now, and then the other 2 payments over the next 2 years. So you would be making 3 payments in the amount of $7,331,267 over the 3-year period of time. But you need to leave the $21 million in there. That way it's already obligated, and it becomes an automatic thing. We don't have to put it into cab ordinance every year. It just becomes something that we do at the beginning of each new fiscal year, and we make that $7,331,267 available in the next 2 years.
Do we just leave it like it is then, Mr. Pratt?
Leave the $21 million like it is, but you do need language in there to be made in 3 installments, 3 annual installments of $7,331,267.
That's my motion.
I did.
Funding sources, gaming revenue.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone,
No.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
No.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Earl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Darlene Aid, Jody Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
No.
Frank Coachman,
No.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
No.
Robert Huff.
No.
Speaker, you have 10 in favor, 6 against.
So the motion to amend is successful, 10 yes votes and 6 no votes. Back to the main motion. As amended, NCA 13-292. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Eddie LeGrone,
No.
Karen Medina,
Yes.
David Nichols,
No.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Earl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn,
Yes.
Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Jody Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
No.
Frank Coachman,
No.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
No.
Robert Huff.
No.
Speaker, you have 10 in favor, 6 against.
With 10 yes votes and 6 no votes, NCA is adopted by the National Council. NCA 13-293, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation appropriating funds to be used toward the purchase of real property and office buildings located in Okmulgee, Oklahoma. What's the pleasure of the National Council?
Motion to adopt?
Representative Johnny Green motions. Representative Mark Randolph seconds. Discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Johnny Green,
Yes.
David Hill,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
LeGrone,
Yes.
Karen Medina,
No.
David Nichols,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Earl Thomas,
Yes.
Lena Wynn, Thomas Shahola,
Yes.
Shirley Nade, Jody Barnett,
Yes.
Pete Beaver,
Yes.
Frank Coachman.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 15 in favor, 1 against.
16 yes votes and 0 no votes. The NCA is adopted by the National Council. Apologize, 15 yes votes and 1 no vote. Adopted by the National Council. That concludes the order of business. Is there other business? from the
Speaker, I'd
National
like to say
Council?
one thing. I'd like to say thank you to the council, everybody. I think this is, the last legislation that passed, the 13-292, is one of the best things that's happened to Creek Nation ever. I feel like that in my heart, and I choose, and I hope that, I know this is going to be a great thing for the nation. It's one of the biggest things we've ever done. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other business from the National Council? Are there any announcements? Yes, sir.
Time, please.
Mr. Kuhn, did you have something to say?
Speaker, me and my father would like to present the chief and the first lady and the Muskogee Creek Nation a plaque of our citizens that we have made for the college, and we'd like to present it to the chief. We may.
Do it.
To the chief, we for everything that me and my father has gone as far as with me going to the Philippines and then me and him coming back from Japan. We and the nation and everything behind us and everything of our great nation, that we appreciate what the chief and his the first lady have done for us at the time of me and my father's need when we had the passing of my mother. This is just our part of our family that we just like to appreciate and show how much we appreciate them. We are donating. We made this ribbon shirt for the chief, and on the back it has my father's logo. That he doesn't normally have certain people wear this logo, but with George and Francis, they're like sons and daughters to him. So he just was more than eager than to have this done. So we have made him a ribbon shirt. On the back, it has my father's logo on the back. And so he wanted George to wear it proudly, which I know he will. Also, for the First Lady, we would like to, my father had a shawl made for her. All these embroideries are done by GCIC Embroidery Designs. And so this is the shawl that my father had made for the First Lady.
Thank you.
Continuing this is we have this thing that my father had. David Rule is the artist that makes this statue, and what it is, it commemorates not only my father, but it commemorates 6 of our Muskogee Creek citizens that fought in World War II in the Philippines. These are the 5 right here that are no longer living, which was Bevenue, Ellis, Grayson, McHenry, and William H. Sardy. Now, Sardy was the one that was killed on a hell ship that didn't make it back. The other 4 did. They're passed on to be with our Maker. My father of the 6 that fought in the Philippines is the last remaining one. We would like to donate this to the college so that all the descendants, I'd like for all the descendants of the ones that I mentioned. I know there's Grayson has descendants here. I don't know, Bevenue, McHenry, Ellis are here, but this is in honor of all the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren. When they go to the college, they'll see what their great-grandfathers and great-great-grandfathers did for our nation. And so we would like to have the college come and it's going to, where they want to put the plaque and everything, it's at their disposal. So we appreciate everything. My father has also signed 2 of his posters and stuff for the college and stuff to put it up there by there. So we just want to commend, thank you, Speaker, for giving us this time, and for the nation, for all, for me and my father and stuff on our trips and everything, as continuing his journey and stuff. But
Our basketball team is having a food sale up front meadow.
Mr. Speaker, members of the council, I don't know if you're aware, we have a survey out front. It's for our language program. What we want to do is identify Creek speakers. We're going to try to recruit them. We're not going to try, we are going to recruit them. As you know, our language is dying at a rapid pace, and with your help, this is just a tool that we're using, and we'd appreciate your time. If you would just take the time to fill it out and just lay it on the table there. We say mado to you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Holy cow.
For our council members, I know it's kind of short notice, but before we go into the new year and the new council session, we're inviting all of our council members and new council members-elect on behalf of the Office of Principal Chief and the Cabinet. On Monday, December 9th, we're going to send a formal invitation to you to come spend the day with us, attend one of our cabinet meetings, have lunch with us, and then do a brief tutorial and tour some of our buildings here at the Nation to give you a more one-on-one, just a little bit more briefing, especially for the new cabinet members coming in or those that never had an experience to actually walk around campus. So Monday, December 9th, and be looking for those formal invitations. Mado.
Go ahead.
Don't want to be disrespectful. Mr. Speaker, National Council, I think most of you know this morning we're having kind of a kickoff of the recent legislation, the passing of our literacy program. We're very excited to kick this off. As We've heard many of you discuss this morning the importance of the legislation that you passed. This literacy program is one of them. And so we're very honored to get the program going. We have some shirts for each of you. We hope that you'll wear them proudly. As we move forward with this program, we still have a lot of decisions to make about it, but we're very excited. You see these children here, and we want our children to be able to read. It's important to our ability to build a strong workforce. It's important for us as a tribe to have the ability to strengthen ourselves in an economic way. And certainly that was discussed this morning. Education is a part of that, and literacy is a part of it. So we're set up out here in the lobby. We have a drawing for some door prizes, so please get signed up, and thank you.
I've been asked to announce a prayer service for Muskogee Creek National representatives hosted by the 5 Indian United Methodist Church, 1100 Eufaula Street, Muskogee, Oklahoma, Sunday, November 24th, 2013, 6 o'clock. Pastors, families, friends, and everyone is welcome. For information, contact 918-230-4734. Chair to entertain a motion to adjourn. Representative Medina motions.
Second.
Representative LeBron seconds. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let's see, Ms. Pearl Thomas, would you please dismiss us with benediction? Stand adjourned, noon.
Thomas, y'all have a...